Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we try to make sense of the corporate world without needing a PhD. And today we've got a doozy, a special purpose acquisition company or SPAC that's looking to make it big in the pharmaceutical world, but with some interesting twists and turns. What exactly is a SPAC? Well, imagine a company that's created with the sole purpose of finding another company to buy and merge with. Basically, it's a shortcut for a private company to go public without doing a traditional IPO. Drugs made in America acquisition to Corp, also known IPO, is one such SPAC. They've just filed their S1 registration statement detailing their plans and some pretty juicy financial details. So what's the big deal here? They're aiming to raise a massive $500 million by selling 50 million units, each unit containing one ordinary share and one right to get a fraction of another share later on. This is their big play to get the funding needed to acquire a pharmaceutical company. The story here is that SPACs are like blank checks. They have the money, but they need a target. This filing is their way of telling the world, hey, we're ready, we've got the cash, what have you got? Let's dive into the numbers because that's where things always get interesting, especially with SPACs. Their whole game is about the money they raise and how they plan to use it on finding that perfect acquisition. Looking at the financial data as adjusted, we see a whopping $501 million before any redemptions. And that's before they even pay the underwriters their hefty deferred fees. That's a lot of money to play with for finding the right company. But here's the kicker. Almost all of this $500 million is going straight into a trust account. It's like a safety vault for investor cash, only to be used for the acquisition or if they fail and have to shut down. Now let's talk dilution, because that's a big deal for investors. The sponsor of this SPAC, Drugs Made in America Acquisition 2 LLC, bought their initial shares for basically nothing, like pennies per share. That means if they do find a good company and merge, your $10 unit could be worth significantly less initially because the sponsor's cheaply bought shares will be diluted. They're talking about a dilution to public shareholders of over 112% in the worst case redemption scenario. That's a massive hit right out of the gate. And speaking of deficits, the balance sheet as of June 30, 2025 shows a shareholders deficit of over $2,000. This is typical for SPACs before they actually merge with a company. They haven't made any money yet. It's all about the potential future. They've got expenses as expected, but also a significant amount from a promissory note to their sponsor showing they're relying on insider loans to keep the lights on even before the public can invest. Their operating costs are pretty minimal right now, just under $100,000 for 6 months, which is expected for a company that isn't operating yet. They're burning cash on setup and legal fees, but that's normal for this stage. The real question is, will they find a company worth merging with to justify these costs and ultimately make money for investors? The shares outstanding actually seem to be decreasing from December 2024 to June 2025 due to some forfeitures, which is interesting and might be a sign of restructuring within the sponsor group or an attempt to manage ownership percentages before the big IPO, but the net loss per share is small and expected given their stage. Now let's talk risks, because for a SPAC, the risks are stacked high from the get-go. They're upfront about it, they have no operating history, no revenue, and no identified target. You're basically betting on their management team's ability to find a gem in the pharmaceutical industry, and they admit that finding a good target is tough. There are tons of SPACs out there, all looking for the same thing. This is a crucial point for you as an investor. You don't get much say in the actual business combination unless they choose to ask for your vote. Most of the time, your main recourse if you don't like the deal is to get your money back through redemption. They are very clear about their sponsor buying shares super cheap, and that means a massive dilution for you, the new investor. It's a core risk. They highlight no beating around the bush here. Interestingly, both the CEO Lynn Stockwell and the CFO Glenn Warman are already involved with another SPAC, Drugs Made in America Acquisition Corp, DMAA. This suggests they might be juggling a lot and potentially have competing fiduciary duties, which is a major red flag for any investor. But then there's the complexity with Lynn Stockwell's other company, Bright Green Corp, which has entered Chapter 11 bankruptcy proceedings. This raises questions about management's bandwidth and potential distractions. It's a significant overhang that investors need to consider. Looking at who owns what before the offering, the sponsor holds a massive 76.8% of the shares. That's a lot of control, but after the offering, their stake reduces significantly to around 49% due to the new shares issued It's important to note that the sponsors' shares are bought for a tiny fraction of a cent per share, and they are likely to make a fortune even if your investment tanks. That's the SPAC model in a nutshell, very high risk for public investors and a potentially huge payday for the sponsors. And who's helping them with this big IPO? Cantor Fitzgerald & Co. is leading the charge. They'll be earning millions in underwriting fees, including some deferred fees that only get paid if the SPAC actually manages to complete a business combination. A nice incentive to get a deal done. They also include a whole section on US federal income tax considerations, which for us means that buying these units could be complicated. They warn about the potential for being classified as a passive foreign investment company PFIC, which can lead to some really nasty tax consequences for US investors. They strongly advise you to talk to your tax advisor, which is always good advice when things get this complex. Overall, financial and tax advisors, this isn't if you're looking for a high risk, high reward situation and you have a strong stomach for dilution and regulatory complexities, then maybe this is for you. However, the involvement of leadership in another SPAC and the financial difficulties of their other ventures like Break Green Corporation are significant red flags. The structure of SPACs inherently benefits sponsors due to their low entry cost for founder shares, which can lead to substantial dilution for public investors if a target isn't found or if the acquisition doesn't perform well. The pharmaceutical industry focus is interesting, but the general SPAC risks remain very high, especially with the added layer of potential conflicts of interest and the legal troubles of related businesses. My advice is to tread very carefully here. Do your homework, understand the risks, and consult your own financial and tax advisors. This isn't for the faint of heart. The structure of SPACs inherently benefits sponsors due to their low entry cost for founder shares, which can lead very carefully here. Do your homework. Alright, that's our deep dive into this SPAC filing. What do you think about these numbers and the potential conflicts of interest? Let us know in the comments below. If you found this breakdown helpful, please hit that like button and subscribe for more dives into the world of corporate finance. Don't forget to join our Discord community linked in the description for more discussions and insights. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.